right, let's get going. Thank you so much for coming to this session on kindness. Let me introduce myself. I will say, I think I'm going to get what's called Wimbledon neck, okay? Because there's this huge gap in the middle, and I do want to look at people as I'm talking, and I'll try not to do it too much because the video will look very strange if I'm doing that all the time, won't it? So, welcome. My name's Tim Keogh. I am the CEO and co-founder of an organization called A Kind Life. I don't know if you can see the slide behind me. Scientists have done a study, and apparently everything's going to be all right. So that's good, isn't it? That's really good. I'm going to come back to that later. It is. It's going to be fine. So we're called A Kind Life. We help organizations to create kinder culture at pace and at scale. At pace and at scale. Through culture, leadership, belonging, resolution, and improvement. But the first question I've got to ask is, why kindness? Why bother with kindness? Have a little think in your own mind. If there were one benefit of kindness, if you could have just a little bit more kindness in your organization, what would the benefit of that be? And let's hear from some people. One benefit of kindness. You don't need more. That's amazing. Wonderful already. One benefit of kindness. Trust. Trust. Yeah, we want to pay it forward. Actually, and I'm going to talk about that later. We'll pay it forward. The benefits of kindness are actually absolutely huge. So, the citations for this slide are about 15 slides long, and you'll be really happy to hear I'm not going to present those slides, but I'm going to present the summary. Kinder cultures have better trust, as you have said, better teamwork and better relationships. People are happier and more satisfied at work. There's better psychological safety, which is essential when it comes to speaking up and having conversations when things aren't going so well. Kinder organizations are more attractive to talent, they've got better customer loyalty, and they're more creative and innovative. All in an organization with less stress, less burnout, fewer mistakes, lower turnover, lower absenteeism, and less discrimination. That's the evidence, that's why we're here. Let's talk about what we mean by kindness, okay? There are some myths about kindness that we are going to bust today. Am I loud enough? Are we okay with it, Ted? Are we okay? Can you hear me all right? Yeah. Great. Kindness is just being pleasant to each other. No. Kindness is nice. No. Kindness is comfortable. It's not. Kindness is random acts. Absolutely not. Kindness is grand gestures. It's not those things either. Yeah? And we'll have a look at why. So the first thing, kindness is not just about being pleasant. It's about being positive. Super positive. So let's think about the last time or a recent time when you were having a good day at work. Okay? Because when we're having a good day at work, amazing things happen. We're more engaged, we're more productive, we're more creative, we get better results, we're more energized when we're having a good day at work, right? So, I'm going to ask you to go back and remember a recent time and an important time for you when you were actually having a good day at work. Or a bit of a day. You've all at least had a bit of a good day at work, right? Not a vague generalization. A specific one-time memory. Go back and remember that now. See it in your mind's eye. Who was there? What were they saying? How was it unfolding? What was the little thing that made a big difference there? And how did it make you feel having this good day at work? And I'm going to task you with a little exercise now, okay? So if you're comfortable to do this, you might be sat with someone you know, you might be sat next to somebody you don't know. All I'd like you to do is just turn to the person next to you, if you're comfortable with this, and just share one emotion that you were feeling when you were having a good day at work, okay? Off we go. Take about 10 seconds. Off we go. Share a great emotion. Off we go. All right, that's all it takes. Now, did you notice the mood in this strange room just shift? It was really, really interesting when I came in and we started. You're like arms crossed, legs folded. Oh, well, I'll give him 10 minutes. I've got an excuse to leave if it's rubbish. And I do the same thing, that's fine. But as you just started to remember your good days at work and share those emotions, just body language opened up. Yeah, there was smiling, there was laughter. The whole room just seemed a little bit brighter. What you've actually just been doing is practicing a powerful, simple psychological skill. Our brain is very straightforward. It can only hold a very small amount of information at any one time. And I didn't ask you just to remember a good day. I asked you to use all your senses to bring it to life. See it, hear it, feel it, relive it. Yeah, and the brain can't tell the difference between the past, the present, and the future. All it knows is what's in there right now. So if what's in there right now is something that made you feel happy, a good day at work, your emotional state will follow how you feel. And then it'll communicate to others because it's contagious, right? That's what we mean by having a good day at work. Now, just think for a moment about what was the little trigger? What was the thing that made your good day at work? In our longer sessions, where there's more people, tomorrow I'm running a session in Belfast with 250 people, we do Menti, and people will vote. And these are the votes that we normally hear. Perhaps for you, your good day at work was driven by appreciation. Someone just noticing and saying thank you. Or teamwork, someone who's got your back. Or maybe positive attitude, some smiling, some what we call professional enthusiasm. Maybe that's what was causing your good day at work. And that's what we found. We've asked hundreds of thousands of people in every sector across the UK what drives a good day at work, and these are the answers. It's just little things. If kindness is doing at work the things that work for people, kindness to us means seeing, noticing, and saying thank you. It means being a supportive colleague. It means being mindful of your attitude and how it's contagious amongst others. So let's touch on some of those things. Would you like the people around you at work to be motivated? Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Would you like them to be motivated? Yeah, of course. Would you like them to be engaged? Would you like them to stay working here, not be looking for another job? Yeah, well, maybe most of them. Maybe not all of them. So this study showed 67% of employees are motivated by praise. That is more than would be motivated by a cash bonus. There is 14% higher employee engagement in appreciative organizations. That's huge. And a whopping 80% of people who feel appreciated and not actively looking for another job. You want a retention strategy? That's your retention strategy right there. Yeah? But appreciation isn't swanning into the room and going, oh, you're fabulous, keep up the hard work, because that's vague, patronizing rubbish, isn't it? Appreciation means seeing and noticing the specific little things people do and appreciating those. And you know what happens when you appreciate something specific someone has done? It means you noticed them, and it makes it authentic. It builds confidence. It drives performance. It boosts our mood. It builds engagement, and it's key to culture change. Because when you know what you want to see and you appreciate it, people will do more of it. Yeah, appreciation boosts, drives behavior change. Now, clearly, we also like working with positive people, but have you ever worked with the opposite? Have you ever worked with someone who I call the mood hoover? You ever work with a mood hoover? Like constantly draining, not like up and down. We're all up and down sometimes, that's normal. But constantly negative, right? Has that ever been you? Like if you're not mindful. I know it's been me sometimes. Yeah, and the impact is so draining on everybody. It's so contagious, so draining. On the other hand, have you ever chosen to be what I call the mood heater or the mood fan? Have you? As a professional, coming in and just lifting the mood, smiling, saying good morning, putting to one side the things we can't affect and just focusing on the things we can. Have you done that? And what's the difference? It's amazing, isn't it? It's a fun team to work in. The day breezes by. But do you actually find you're more productive when there's a positive attitude in the team? You get more done. Yeah, and you're more creative. You find more solutions to problems. Well, you are, and you do. So you remember, when I asked you to remember a good day at work, I asked you to see it in your mind's eye. Hear the things that were going on. Feel the feelings and the emotions again. Richly remember it. They did a neuroscience study just asking people to do that, richly remember positive memories, just like you just did. Then they studied what was going on in their brains with a functional MRI scan, and they found that just a simple positive thought sends the blood to the bits of the brain about creativity and problem solving and switches them on. That's how much control you got over your brain, which is why at University of Warwick stowed, when we're thinking positive thoughts at work, we're 23% more productive. And if you're ever tasked, do you ever have problems at work? Do you? Nah, really? You've got to find solutions. Well, when you're thinking positive thoughts, you will have 25% more solutions, and those solutions will be 30% more novel or different, and you make better decisions as well. When you choose to think positive thoughts. And then it's like throwing a pebble of positivity into the pond. What this study showed, and I like to do this, I love my coffee, I've got one over there. It feels a long way away to me right now. A latte, very strong one. When I walk into a coffee shop, I will conjure up a positive mood. Just like that, just like we just did before with our good days. I'll go in and I'll have a joke and a laugh with the barista. This study shows the barista will be 18% happier, and all those benefits they get from that. The barista's customers will be 10% happier, and the barista's customers, colleagues, friends, and family will be 6% happier, and I've never met them. That's how powerful this throwing this pebble of positivity. I'm not talking about toxic positivity. Yeah, relentlessly positive all the time. We're all up and down sometimes, that's normal, but we can get lost in it. I'm just suggesting notice your thoughts. Notice when you're feeling positive, notice when you're feeling negative, notice that your thoughts drive your emotions. Take a step back. Observe what's going on with you with a bit of curiosity, with some compassion. That's all. The Harvard Business Review noted that when leaders express positivity early on, employees perform better. That's early on in their career, early on in their new role, early on in a project, early on in the day. Yeah? So time is really important in this as well. So kindness is not just being pleasant, kindness is being relentlessly positive, authentically positive. And kindness is not just being nice. Being nice means being equivocal, not rocking the boat. Yeah, a little bit ambiguous sometimes. Kindness is clear. Our kindness is edgy. Kindness means letting people know what's going on. When we ask people what makes a bad day at work in our workshops, it's overwhelmingly colleagues' poor behaviors. Rudeness, bullying, racism, lack of teamwork, much more than pressure. Feeling undervalued, managers or leaders, mood hoovering. It's colleagues' poor behaviors. And you'll have experienced these, you'll have seen these. And we've got to do something about this, because this behavior causes harm. And it actually causes harm to the business, to the organization. So this is a study of neonatal ICU clinicians. In this world, quality is essential. They're taking care of premature babies. Now, they did a study, 72 of them. They thought they were doing an exercise in teamwork, but they weren't. They were doing a blind study on the impact of rudeness on their quality of work. They were all told an expert in teamwork would observe them and comment on how they were doing. Half the groups, the expert spoke to in a neutral tone of voice. The other half in an uncivil tone of voice. Not even the words, just the tone of voice. That group made significantly more errors and significantly more mistakes, and the only difference was the way they'd been spoken to. And you might think, oh, well, I'm a professional, it's water off a duck's back for me, but another study showed that's absolutely not the case. We notice it. We realize what's happening, we think it doesn't affect us, and it always does. Because what it does, when someone is rude to us at work, uncivil, even just a mild tone of voice, it puts us into a fight or flight state. It's exactly the same as if there were this mythical saber-toothed tiger in the room. Yeah? It puts us into a fear for life. What happens then is, in fight or flight, there are actually 3 Fs in fight or flight. It's not the one you're thinking. It's freeze. We freeze, hoping the tiger might walk past and think we're a tree. But they're still in your face having a go. And you think, what's all this about? You're not thinking about work anymore. You're angry and distracted. Then what happens is 10% of the blood in your brain drains into your body, down the back of your neck. Because you don't need to think, you need to fight or flee. Blood in the brain is energy, things need to close down. Guess what? The bits of the brain about creativity and problem solving that we just switched on earlier, they're the first things to close down. So it harms all kinds of things. It also means we're less likely to speak up because it reduces oxytocin levels, makes us less social. So there's a real impact. 15% of our colleagues in the UK are bullied every year at work. 15%, millions of people. More from our global majority colleagues. Now, you think, oh, well, that's just stats, right? Those people, 80% will suffer overwhelming anxiety, 50% clinical depression. They're twice as likely to have suicidal thoughts. And we kind of let it happen. We say, well, let's just have a policy. Let's have a process. It's not good enough. 85% of bullying is accidental. It could be me. It was me once. It could be you. It could be any of us. Everybody needs to learn about this. 120,000 people quit their jobs in the last 5 years because of racism. 72% of women in the UK have experienced sexual harassment at work. 1 in 5 neurodivergent employees have experienced harassment or discrimination. That's me. I'm an autistic person. I've experienced that. Most of us we don't even bother to tell anyone because we think we're not going to get anything anyway. So what happens if we see this behavior and say nothing? If we say nothing, nothing's going to change, is it? In fact, things just get worse. It just becomes the norm. When we avoid difficult conversations, we trade short-term discomfort for long-term dysfunction. And there are lots of different ways we could speak up. This is about the most complicated slide you're going to see here today. We need clarity and we need empathy to be able to speak up properly, but to know how to speak up, to feel safe to speak up, we need to know how to speak up. We teach people how to have these conversations using our BUILD framework. Visit us on our stand just over there. You can scan, put yourselves into a drawer for a free copy of my book, Kinder Conversations, Talk It Out Without Falling Out, because that's what we do. And this is about, what we help people to do is to notice the behaviors that are happening from others and from ourselves, to understand where it's coming from, to talk about it, to listen and to change. These are learned skills. We can learn to do them. Oh, there we are. That's the book. Because employees who receive regular feedback, and this is where clarity is kind. You want it back again? Kinder Conversations, Talk It Out Without Falling Out, Amazon #1 bestseller. I outsold Brené Brown and Simon Sinek for 36 whole hours. That's how I got to #1. You got it? Yeah. Employees who receive regular feedback are 3.6 times more likely to be motivated and to do outstanding work. Yeah, kindness. Oh, and when you get really down into the depths of bullying and harassment, we've also got a program to help to resolve this. I've got 20 NHS trusts using this. 2024, 8 clients introduced it, 3,000 fewer people being bullied, saving 18 million quid. Kindness is not soft. Kindness is not nice. Kindness is super edgy. Neither is it comfortable. Kindness is vulnerable. So I'm hoping to leave you with some skills here. The ABC of appreciation, for example. Here's another one. A simple how are you? So if the next time you wander into work and you see the people you work with, you say, how are you? They go, fine. And you go, no, really, I'm interested. Actually, how are you? And just listen to them for 2 minutes. It's incredible. Listening's hard, by the way. You've got to bite your lip and say nothing. Yeah, don't agree, don't disagree. No, we're not all in the same boat. We might be in the same storm. Yeah, there's all the different contexts going on. Because a study by EY, the consulting firm, showed the #1 way to build belonging is by checking in with colleagues professionally and personally. And when people feel like they belong, they are 3.5 times more likely to contribute to their fullest potential. And it's so simple. Just check in and ask, how are you? And care. But this is hard, right? Because you don't know what you're going to hear. You don't know what you're going to hear. That's what vulnerability is. Vulnerability is not kind of spilling your guts about all the stuff that's going wrong for you. Vulnerability is asking how are you and showing up when you don't know what the outcome's going to be. And you might not be able to help. But just by listening, that person's more likely to find their own solutions. That's vulnerability. And when you demonstrate that level of empathy, some really cool things happen. Relationships, burnout, job satisfaction, and so on. Kindness is not random. Kindness is super. By the way, Random Acts of Kindness Day really pisses me off. Firstly, kindness is not random. Secondly, it's not just what we do, it's what we notice and think and see and say. And thirdly, why do we only get a day when kindness is so important? It's super, super intentional. We teach emotional intelligence, practical emotional intelligence, using this model. You get what you give. This is a way of unpicking any human interaction. I won't go into it now, but I will ask this. Have you ever been angry in your life? Have you ever been angry for longer than 90 seconds? Yeah, I was angry for 3 years once, but that's another story. The chemical component of anger lasts 90 seconds. If you've ever been angry for longer than that, it's because of the thoughts you had that kept it going. Now, anger's a great emotion. It's an away from emotion. It's a keeping us safe emotion. Yeah? But you've got to be aware why you're feeling it and when you want to feel it. And what we can do is, look, this is half an hour in one slide, but you're going to get it with the title. You can have a row if you want one, but it takes two to tango. Yeah? Every argument you've ever been in, even if you walked away, passive-aggressive, you've been a part of it. Instead, lean in. That sounds really difficult. I'd like to hear. Not how I see it, but I'd like to hear how you think. Yeah? Lean in. And what we're looking to do here is tease apart a gap between stimulus, what other people say and do, and response, how we react to that. We call this responsibility. Leaders are supposed to take responsibility. We spell it with a hyphen. It's the ability to be able to respond rather than reacting. And these are all learned skills. And that takes curiosity. Curiosity is a super, super important skill. It's the opposite of judgment. I'm interested. I don't get it. Help me to understand. Yeah? Because when you show curiosity, you make fewer errors in your decision making, and you have more helpful reactions. Less defensive reactions to stress, less aggressive reactions to provocation. That can only ever be really helpful when we're thinking about building relationships at work and at home as well. And 14% more curiosity leads to 34% more innovation at work. Yet most leaders stifle curiosity because they think it's going to increase risk. But what it does is it increases innovation. We've got a program called Ideas. We democratize continuous improvement across organizations. We call it Kindtinuous Improvement. I know, it's terrible, but at least it stands out. And finally, kindness is not grand gestures. It's the little things. Yeah? Acts of kindness build trust. Think for a moment, who are the people at work or at home who you really trust? What is it about them that really allows you to trust them? These are the people who, they remember things. don't they? They remember your birthday. They remember when something was going on. They ask about your sick mother, for example, when nobody else does. These are the people who, when you tell them something, it doesn't go on to anybody else. These are little acts, aren't they? They got this, like, I call it like a jar of treasures that they slowly build up with you. That's what builds trust. One thing after another, little by little. Asking, how are you? Listening. Showing empathy. Checking in a couple of days later and knowing it's not going to anybody else. Yeah? Being appreciative. Noticing the great things we're doing. Letting us know when we're doing things wrong with build feedback. That's what builds trust. All those things we've spoken about so far, these little things build trust. Employees who trust their managers are 76% more engaged. And high trust teams have more energy, productivity, engagement, satisfaction, fewer sick days, less stress, less burnout. There's an organisation just down the road called London Ambulance Service. We've been working with London Ambulance Service the last 3 years to build these trusting teams. London Ambulance Service have reported a halving of sickness absence from 12 to 6% and a 10% increase in productivity. That's worth 60 million quid to the NHS. 60 million quid because they're a 600 million pound organisation, just because they've been able to build trusting teams using these methods that we've described. So, can you see this at the back, this cartoon? What's he saying at the top, where they've all got their hands up looking really keen? Who wants change? Right, that's us, isn't it? We want things to be better and kinder. What's he saying down here, where they're all looking around waiting for somebody else to start first? Who wants to change? Do you recognize that attitude? Yeah, I'll respect him if he respects me. I'll listen to her if she listens to me. We'll help them if they lend us a hand now and again. It was Gandhi, wasn't he, who said, be the change you want to see in the world. And neuroscience has caught Gandhi up and proven him to be right. We know emotions are contagious. Try it later. Just go out and smile at someone, see what happens. Yeah? Actually, just try it now. Smile at the person next to you, see what happens. Yeah, and the smile's got to be with the eyes. It's got to be with the eyes as well. It's really, really important. You can see a smile in the eyes. If you want someone to respect you, find some way to show you respect them. See what happens. If you want someone to listen to you, listen to them first. This is why our build method works so well for feedback, because it includes listening. If you want someone to help you, help them out, see what happens. So, I'm going to ask you to reflect just for 30 seconds on your own. Maybe you've got a pen, get your mobile phone out, send yourself an email, make a note. If there are one thing you could personally do more of as a result of this half an hour that we've spent together here today, what might that be? What one thing could you do more of? Well, remember what makes a good day at work? Our attitude, our appreciation, our speaking up, how are you, the trust jar. Maybe even just turn to the person next to you and let them know, what's this one thing you're going to do more of right now as a result of this half hour we've spent together? What are you going to do? Okay, so, thank you. You're going to make an amazing difference. We've already seen the pebble of positivity. Now we understand that kindness has karma. Kindness has karma. These studies show if you're kind to someone, they are likely to be kind to 4 other people. 278 more pro-social behaviors. That's what we're talking about. Kindness has karma. And I'm not even asking you to be altruistic, because people who choose to be kind to others and themselves are calmer, happier, and more optimistic. You will have more agency and motivation. You're more likely to be promoted and earn more. You're more satisfied in your relationships at work and at home, have lower cortisol levels. Kindness, intentional kindness, is a better cure for anxiety and depression than CBT and SSRIs combined. People who are over 40, people 55 and over, who volunteer for 2 organizations have a 44% lower likelihood of dying early, taking into account all other contributing factors. My next book was going to be called Be Kind or Die Early, but I'm going to give it a different name to that. That's how powerful kindness is. Now, I started with that message. what did I say? Oh, scientists have done a study and apparently everything's going to be all right, which is nice to hear. We call that optimism, right? Just telling ourselves these things. Everything I've been talking about here is optimism, yeah? Optimistic people who choose to feel that tomorrow could be better than yesterday, that's all it is, are healthier, happier, more satisfied, make more successful leaders. And it's okay, because optimism is 25% genetic and 75% learned. And we've quietly been learning optimism over the last half an hour. So yeah, I think everything's going to be fine. Come and say hi to us at stand C242. It's been an absolute pleasure to spend time with you today. Just please remember this. If possible, be kind to each other, but even more than that, be kind to yourselves. Yeah, because you can't give what you haven't got. It's been a pleasure. I've been Tim. You've been amazing. Thank you very much.